somebody had a large erection in the back of their garden. So, you know, I don't know.
It's alive! Show this prehistoric bitch how we do things downtown.
Welcome to Empire of Geek, and joining us this week is
Back by popular demand
is Dr. G, physicist, chemist, lover of fine wine, man of the world, man of the people's champ, laying the scientific smackdown down on all of your ears tonight. And then we've also got Raoul.
Hi.
Who's back again. We can't get rid of him. It's always good having you here, Raoul. Rob.
Thanks.
No, and it normally, let me just, for first time listeners, what we do is we do a podcast about sci-fi, fantasy, geeky stuff. We focus on films, TV shows, we do our comic of the week, and we talk about conventions, and it's normally got a very kind of UK focus on it. This week, not very UK focused, because all the stuff I'm really interested in this week is all mainly American and stuff like that. But not to worry, we can do that, can't we?
Yes.
We have flexibility.
We do.
There's usually somebody British or somebody European behind the good stuff.
It is true. All the best shows have English actors in, don't they?
The Walking Dead.
Yes.
Andrew Lincoln.
Yes.
But I thought you hated The Walking Dead.
I can still appreciate a good actor in it.
But I thought...
Was it Andrew James Clutterbuck?
Clutterbuck,
That was his original name, yeah.
You should have kept that.
AJ
Clutterbuck.
You had a big rant about thermodynamics last week, then.
It's not the actors, it's the zombies that I take issue with.
But you would have liked... We'll talk about him later on anyway. I don't want to ruin...
No, fine.
I don't want to ruin what we're going to talk about. Anyway, there's a new feature I'm starting now, and it's called Mailbag. And it's because... It's not where we all get our balls out.
How do you spell mail out of mailbag?
M-A-L-E. No, M-A-I-L.
Good.
What we do is, I will take my genitalia and I will beat a famous theme tune out on the table.
What?
Literally. And you need to guess what it is.
It would be more impressive if you made it into the face of a...
the main actor from it.
Absolutely.
Well, I was going to do Space 1999, so if I could make my balls look like Martin Landau, and maybe one look like him, the other one look like his wife and co-star, Barbara Bain. That'd be quite impressive, wouldn't it? I could buy both the faces on. I'll consider that next time. We could do that. I'll draw a famous science fiction character's face on one of my notes.
Is this for the benefit of the audience, us though? Because we have to see this.
Well, it's for no one's benefit, really, is it? Definitely not yours. Maybe I get some sick, twisted pleasure out of it.
Oh.
Yeah, mailbag as in mail, because we've got some messages this week to the show.
Right.
Now, the first one isn't so much a question, because we've got a question, but the first one was from the Yorkshire Comic Con, which is going to be on April the 4th. And they said to us, great stuff, hope you're all going to come to the Comic Con.
When is it?
April the 4th. We'll actually talk about it on the show when we get the month before April, but that's quite nice,
I
wasn't it?
don't think you'll get to go.
Well, I no,
unless you're down the pub.
Oh yeah, it's very... Yeah, sorry Yorkshire Comic Con.
We would love to come.
Yeah, we're both having children, aren't we? But
I'm not.
Rob's not. Rob's a Jaffa. So you're...
He's an alien from Stargate.
Yeah.
Well, that's impressive.
Not with a Jafar. No, you're not having a child, are you, Rob?
No, not
you could do. Let's make that clear, though. Ladies, if you want a child with Raoul, you can do it. You do only have one testicle, but as scientists will tell us, the other one takes up the slack, doesn't it? Which is why your nut is like a cantaloupe, isn't it?
You only use I was told you only use 30% of each one anyway.
But yours is running about 95%, so I hear.
Turbocharged.
A veiny melon, as I recall.
It's overclocked.
I've actually seen Raoul's testicle.
Okay, here we go.
It's a long story, but basically, imagine the scene. I am a young fellow at university, and it's late at night. I'm not going out to the nightclub, and we get a phone call.
Shut up.
And I pick up the phone, and this voice, I won't tell you who it is, it goes, "Dude, is that Mr. Charlton?" And because that was one of the people we lived with, Sparky, good man. And I went, no. He went, is it you, Mr. Reynolds? And I went, it is. I said, is that you, Rob? And he said,
oh, shut up.
Raoul. And he said, yes, it is. I went, what's wrong then? Because it was about 2 or 3 in the morning. He said, I've been stabbed, dude. Guy with an age needle stabbed me in the arm. I was like, Jesus
Look,
Christ.
I was convinced, I hadn't actually been stabbed, but I was convinced I'd been stabbed by this bloke outside this nightclub. Who told me he'd stabbed me. And I was that kind of gone, 3 sheets to the wind or whatever, that the fact he said that he stabbed me was enough for me to believe that he stabbed me, not the actual fact that he hadn't stabbed me, if that makes sense.
Thanks for clearing that up.
Anyway, I said to him, I says, "Are you okay, Raoul?" And he said, yeah. I says, "Where did he stab you?" And he said, he injected me basically where his elbow is, where you would take blood. And I thought, if someone, when I've given blood before, you can get big bruises.
This was over 15 years ago.
Don't start defending your terrible actions. So I said, is the blood? Because I thought if someone forcibly injected you with a needle, you would bleed like a son of a bitch. And obviously Raoul said, yeah, it's everywhere, dude. It's all over the walls. And I thought, oh dear. I said, I'll be there in a minute. And I lived on the opposite side of Wrexham when we went to university. And I ran across and I got to the park and I had to climb over the fence where a friend of ours had broken his scaphoid in his wrist a few weeks before.
What's a scaphoid?
It's a small bone in your wrist, which if you fall onto yourself, is quite easy to break your scaphoid.
Okay.
Anyway,
I'm trying to change the subject.
I ran through the dark park on my own, climbed over the other side, and eventually got to Raoul's house, knocked on the door, and he answers it in his boxer shorts. Was he covered in blood? Was he? Balls. So he shows me in, and then I said to him, "What's the matter, Rob?" He went, "Oh, he stabbed me, dude." And I went, "Where?" And he showed me this. It was a freckle on his arm. I said, "That's just a freckle." He goes, "Yeah, he stabbed me in it, dude." I said, you sure? And then there's a knock at the door. We answer the door, and it's one of our other friends. And then another knock at the door. He'd rung everyone in his phone book. And then his phone starts ringing. He'd rung everyone at home who we knew as well. So we all... There's a load of us at his house, and we go, "Rob, you need to get to bed." But he decides that it's 3 a.m, he's woke all his friends up. What he needs to do is an ab workout. So he gets on his little ab cruncher and he's wearing little boxer shorts. Now, if you've never seen Rob's, how much are you, 6'4"?
Just a little bit under that, but yeah.
About 6'3.5", 6'4"-ish. And he's a big fellow, aren't you? To describe you are,
slightly less big now.
No, I don't mean big fellow as in that, but I mean you are solidly built.
Yes.
Like the warrior mode of Harold Bishop. That's how I always describe it. And so he started doing ab crunches with all of us stood around there, and a few people started to leave, and me and my friend Mark, who we tried to get through to earlier, were stood there in his room, and Mark went and sat down in his chair, and Rob was really quickly going for it, feeling the burn, and I looked down, and I noticed that what can only be described as this kind of, like a small dormouse, had dropped itself out the side of his boxer shorts.
Oh.
And I said, Rob, you've just popped out. Can you pop that away? And he was like, what about doing? And he kept going quicker and quicker. And in the end, I just said, "Look, Rob, it's a beauty, but you've got to put it away." And Mark fell off his chair at that point. And we all left then. Went back to university the next day thinking we can all chat about Rob's misfortune. But luckily nothing had happened to him. And he had housemates at the time. And we get into university and I was thinking this is going to be the number one topic. And you're going to learn something about Raoul in a minute. I got in and Raoul's housemates who were out at the time, who were away for the weekend, come up to me. I said, "You had a good weekend?" And she goes to me. Her name was Claire, but we always used to call her Stuart, but she said she wanted to be a boy. Which the fact she had a boyfriend called Kevin,
right,
always made us think that's weird. The fact that your girlfriend wants to be a boy called Kevin. Stuart and Kevin.
Yes. I didn't actually say this to her.
Yes, you did, you lying shit. And she comes up to me and goes, "That was an interesting weekend." She went, "I've heard about you. Rob says that you forced your way into our house and you all load of you and you ran around the house with my pants on your head." I said, "That's quite the different weekend experience." Now, luckily, I had everyone Rob knew on his phone as a witness to that lying git over there.
I didn't say anything the sort
You
of
knew you were in the shit, and then your mind just thought, "I'll try and bail myself out." But yeah, look, Rob didn't get AIDS there. It was much later you got that, wasn't it? Anyway, so that's I've gone off on a tangent. Yeah, Yorkshire Comic Con. We'll talk about them later on. We probably won't be going.
That's just proof. Just don't like drink loads of stuff that you don't know what it is.
Yeah, you big wimp. Rob used to pour his pints as well at university.
I never poured my pints.
He would get people to buy him pints, and he'd waddle off in the toilet and come back with it empty.
I would never ever pour.
It's a lot better than going to the toilet with an empty pint and coming back with it full, which would be horrible. But
I never used to.
You
pour
were well
my pints.
known for pouring your pints.
I've never
I've drank
poured a pint.
15 pints, dude.
I've never poured a pint in my life. I've only ever drank them.
I'm not the only person who noticed that pint pouring did go on.
I never.
I'm going to leave it there. I know it's a contentious issue.
This is crap. I've never poured a pint in my life.
It's a disgusting habit, unless it's Foster's, in which case I
just don't buy Foster's.
Don't buy it. Yeah, I suppose.
Anyway, the other note we've had is from on the Twitter.
On the Twitter.
The Twitter.
Is that on the internet?
Yes, on the internet. On our Twitter account, which you can follow us if you want, listeners, at Empire Geek, was from Craig. And Craig asked a question. He says, does Raoul eat every episode?
He eats episodes. Wow.
Not actually the whole episode, but...
That's no wonder I didn't
But
appear.
every episode that Craig has listened to, you've been stuffing your face.
We have a listener.
Craig, yes.
Craig, hello Craig, you're our only listener. Very good to meet you.
We have more than Craig. So anyone else have any questions? Or do you... Rob doesn't eat every episode.
No, he hasn't got any food at the moment.
No, not today.
No, not at the moment, no.
But if there's any chocolates in the house, he will sniff them out and devour them.
Like a dog seeking a truffle.
It is, yes. It's pigs in it they use.
It's also dogs.
Also dogs, yeah.
Apparently dogs are easier to train not to eat the truffles than pigs.
Yeah, so like a truffle hound.
Yes.
Yeah, but there's no chocolate. Oh, we've hidden it all, so you won't find it.
That's all right. I'm not on a cheat day today, so I can't really eat it anyway.
Oh, there's some over there.
There's that box of Thorntons.
Oh, I saw Rob's head turn to the side.
But Thorntons doesn't really count. Thorntons aren't.
It's almost in. Thorntons are really good.
Yeah.
You're not having any anyway. This is your weak attempt to go, well, you could try one then. You're like, no, I don't like it.
Well, they're not. I mean, I've had my fill. I'm not on the chocolate.
I know, you're exercising.
I am. I've got DOMS at the moment anyway. So, from all the squatting.
That's delayed onset muscle
soreness. I lost another inch.
Was it talking about what happened at university?
Yeah.
So yeah, you've lost another inch off your waist.
That's right.
And what about the guns? The listeners want to know.
They've not really. They're just more or less the same. So
it's going well though.
Yeah. Sticking to it. Even my next door neighbour noticed. Came out of the house this morning and said, "Oh, you've lost weight." So
that's nice.
So there you go.
That's nice.
Yes.
Anyway, let's get on with it. Now, first of all, we're going to do film news, and the very first story I've chosen this is because it fits in quite nicely with you as the warrior Harold Bishop. Is that
I look nothing like Harold Bishop.
Is that Harold Bishop, the actor who plays Harold Bishop,
Ian
Smith?
I've forgotten his surname. Is it Ian Smith?
Ian Smith.
Ian Smith.
He has said, obviously he's cracking on a bit now. He wants a big meaty film role. He says before he finishes off, he thinks he deserves. He's had little bits in things, but he wants to go out with a bang in a big film.
How old is he now?
He probably is. I'm going to guess 70s ish. Quite multi-talented as well because he used to write Neighbours as well.
Yeah. If that's talent.
He could be a Bond villain, couldn't he?
Yeah.
Bond villain?
Yeah, he'd be taking everybody by surprise.
It'd be like that episode Neighbours when he loses his mind and goes a bit mental and starts fighting people.
Yeah, why not?
He didn't lose his mind. Luke Carpenter had annoyed him so much that he knocked him out on the Lasters Bridge. Harold was... although, you're right...
I don't know how far away Neighbours is from science fiction and fantasy, but it's not close.
I know, I like a Harold Bishop story. I think he deserves to get in.
Fair enough.
And because sometimes people have said that Rob looks like the warrior, the film version of Harold Bishop.
My face doesn't look like him.
Harold the Wilderness Years.
I'd probably share some of his mannerisms, but that's unfortunate.
So if somebody were to play a fictional character in a soap opera in Australia, it would be...
If they did a reboot.
Rob.
Yeah.
Roll.
Yeah, if they did a reboot of Neighbours.
A reboot.
Or a movie version.
I feel that every other week, they do a reboot of Neighbours.
Yeah.
I don't watch it myself. I passive watch it. It's like passive smoking.
I haven't seen Neighbours for almost 20 years. So I don't even know what's going on now.
Except for earlier on this week when they said you'd lost a lot of weight.
Yeah. Oh, well done.
Oh dear.
You know your neighbour.
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, that was this morning, actually.
Too quick. Too quick.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Well,
let's move on.
I think it's the 30th anniversary soon, Neighbours. Something like that.
They did a zombie special, actually, which was quite entertaining.
On YouTube, yeah. You can
Neighbours zombie special?
Yeah.
But I thought you didn't like zombies.
If they kill the cast of Neighbours, it's absolutely fine. I can take that.
Excuse me, I nearly choked then. I swallowed and burped at the same time. It was a very bizarre feeling.
You just invented a new thing.
I'm sure other people have done it, but yeah, swerping. Were you trying to swerve yourself?
Yeah, it didn't quite work.
It's a craze. Yeah, yeah. They did do some zombie ones, and they brought back people like who's Toadie's cousin who died of a brain aneurysm.
My wife would know.
He was artistic.
There was Stormfish or Toadfish and Stonefish and something fish.
Stormfish. Happy Ace was Stormfish.
They also brought back somebody's brother, somebody who was violent or something. Oh, the guy who was after Amber, or was together with Amber. And
who's Amber?
Amber is one of the. Oh God, let's move on.
Yeah, I was going to say it's sci-fi.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was thinking that with all the Marvel films and all that, because I saw this written somewhere, I can't take credit for this, but Jim Robinson from Neighbours was in the last Captain America film.
Yes.
So could they not, since he got killed in it, they put that thing on him which killed him, could they not get Harold Bishop in to be one of the directors of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Perhaps.
Harold Bishop as a director of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Or they could open up a S.H.I.E.L.D. coffee shop or something.
Hydra.
Yeah, could have been as that.
I think you should make him as something to do with Hydra because he would be. Yeah, I think he'd be
a Nazi.
Yeah, I think he'd make a good Nazi. There's something about him that makes you think he could pull off the role of a Nazi quite well because he'd be quite deceptive. Quite, people think he's quite affable,
a very
quite
blokey
lovable,
bloke. If you've ever seen
nice.
the interviews,
in real life, yeah.
You didn't like the idea of a Bond villain. I said exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
Catch people.
Bond villain, that would work. Yeah, that would actually work.
He's very different from Harold, obviously because he's an actor, but
and Harold is a fictional character. Yes.
Well, yes. Although I did go to university with him, and he said he got stabbed. So anyway, so what I want to talk about then now is actual real geeky sci-fi news. Is the film Kingsman, which is out at the moment, and the only reason I want to talk about it is because I went to see it with my fair bride-to-be one day. The future.
She's disputing
the future mother of my child, who's currently baking inside of her. We went to go and see it, and I really, really enjoyed it. I thought I enjoyed it a bit, but I would wholeheartedly suggest anyone go and watch it. Mark Hamill's in it, but they don't. Mark Hamill doesn't do. I thought Mark Hamill was going to be killed quite quickly in the film, and he didn't last that long. But I really enjoyed.
Spoiler
it.
alert.
Oh yeah, there's going to be spoilers in this, by the way. I won't try to spoil too much, but really good. Michael Caine's character was fun in it. The guy who plays the young lad in it was really, really interesting. And Colin Firth, there's some amazing fight scenes in it. There's two particular fight scenes that Colin Firth has, which are awesome. There's one in a church, which if you go and watch it, it was just really well choreographed, and they almost take violence to ballet style. It's a real art. The violence is the way he kicks the crap out of all these people in this church.
Colin Firth.
Were there actually any baddies in the church, or was it just a congregation listening to the?
Well, I don't want to spoil.
Right.
I don't want to spoil it, but he's not necessarily under his own. It's him fighting, but I don't want to spoil it.
Okay. Yeah, it's like the wrong trousers or something like that.
The bit where Wallace murders all those people.
Yeah.
Where's the cheese, Grommy? I want to cut your head off.
Yeah.
Yes, in fact, very, very similar to that. Yes, but it's well worth going to see. Very good film, and even my girlfriend enjoyed it, didn't you? Just give us it. Did you enjoy it?
Yes.
Yes, it was fun. The end of the film as well is particularly interesting. because it apes the end of Bond films very well, but takes it to a whole new level. Do you know at the end of Bond films normally
He knobs some woman.
he gets the girl and it'll be like 007, Agent Triple X. What are you doing? Keeping the British end up, sir. Yeah. It's a bit like that, but he literally does keep the British end up. You'll have to see it.
Okay.
And there's lots of little funny little jokes about James Bond, the Bourne films and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It is. It's a very, very enjoyable film, so I suggest go out and watch it now. Right, the next thing we'll talk about is the Poltergeist remake. We talked about a lot of reboots last week, and I just showed before the show these chaps the trailer. My big issue is there... Poltergeist was a real classic film when it came out.
Yeah.
Well regarded. Can this one be anywhere near as good as the original in a market saturated with paranormal activity and Insidious style films? And we'll start with Dr. G.
No.
There we go.
Moving on. No, everybody knows the television scene from the original Poltergeist. If they've never seen it, even if they've never seen it, everybody knows that scene, right?
Yeah.
And I just feel when I saw the trailer for it, it felt a little bit like Paranormal Activity.
Yeah.
A lot of like pulling people and without seeing what pulls them and all that kind of thing, and jump scares and that kind of thing. So I don't know. I'm not a massive fan of these sort of films anyway. But I think that it's it just shows that Hollywood is really out of ideas.
Yeah.
Full stop.
Well, you were saying before we started that when I was talking about what we're going to talk about, not talking about there. You said about how we keep doing reboots.
Oh, me?
Yes.
Yeah. It just seems to be at the moment the in thing, just to reboot everything. And
the reason for that is, I don't know if I mentioned this last week when we were talking about reboots, is it's a safer bet for the studios. They don't want to take risks.
Mm.
I'm intrigued to see, on a different note, there's a new film called Jupiter Ascending out at the moment, which has been described. I've not seen it, I want to go and see it.
Yeah.
The reviews have said that it's barking mad. So I don't know how good it's going to be, but that film looks to me like a bit of a risk.
Yeah, but it's... I saw the trailer and it felt to me a bit like Dune, or June, just from the feel of it. I mean, and then maybe it mixed in with John Carter, which was not a big hit.
Yeah.
But if you've seen it, you know why. So, I don't know, The Matrix was... It had the same producers as The Matrix,
yes,
right?
It does.
The Matrix was incredible. I mean, even though it was stolen from, obviously from Plato's Republic, no, it was.
As our listeners will no doubt know.
Absolutely, breath of fresh air. But yeah, I don't know. I'll go and watch it.
Yeah, I definitely want to see it.
I didn't think much of The Matrix though, so
okay. No, that's allowed. That's allowed. I mean, people can have their wrong opinions. That's absolutely fine.
I just thought first one great, and then the subsequent ones, all the others, I just thought
everyone agree. I've not heard many people who've argued against that they like the first one. Apart from me, I enjoyed the later ones more, which goes against what most people say. Only because I don't really like Keanu Reeves unless he's in a telephone box travelling through time.
Yes.
I think he is a shit actor. Which then, as people have argued and said, well, that's why he fitted Neo really well. The fact that this kind of the one has had his personalities kind of stripped from him. He is almost machine-like.
Yeah.
And that's why he does well. But how much of that is by design and just the fact that
he should play Pinocchio? Pinocchio is made from wood virtually throughout.
Imagine Keanu Reeves as Pinocchio, Roger Moore as Geppetto. Would that not be the best film
ever? Adorable.
It would be brilliant. With the little Bruno Mars Jiminy Cricket.
Bruno Mars is Jiminy Cricket?
Well, yeah, because it's very popular at the moment to take, he's a green character, wasn't he? We'll make him black. There won't be such a big outcry as like in the Fantastic Four, going from white to black. Everyone, loses their shit over that. But green to black, is that such a big issue?
And the fact that he's not cricket.
What, Bruno Mars? No, he's just a tiny man. But, yeah. Anyway, I'm losing the point a little bit there. Rob, what did you think of the trailer for Poltergeist, the remake?
Well, it just looked generic kind of horror. It just looked like Paranormal Activity and every other. And
I agree with that.
I'm sure it'll do quite well, but I don't really care, and I'm not really going to bother watching it if it,
Is the title not The Ghost House?
No, that was the domain name for the.
But that betray. I mean, house as a dwelling and ghost. That's anything paranormal. I mean, that just describes it, doesn't it? I mean, they really haven't got any more ideas.
It could well be that someone already has poltergeist.com.
Yeah.
I bet that's what it will be. Someone will.
The makers of the original bloody film.
The thing I will probably... I'm not a huge horror film fan. There's some that I like. I like horror films with real bad guys in them, like some of the Freddy Krueger ones. I'm not saying they're good films, but I like them. Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th.
Yes.
There's something... I like the original Poltergeist, and because of that I would want to go and watch it, this one. Because this, and I said this before the show as well, the original Poltergeist is such an interesting story when you look into the backstory of it.
Yeah.
So what I did was, in preparation for the show, I've done some digging about the original Poltergeist film, because it also inspired lots of other movies, and I thought you might be interested to hear some of the kind of the backstory to it. So I'm going to lay it on you. Just before I get onto that though, the new Poltergeist reboot will be out on the 31st of July.
I'm glad he is not out on the 34th.
The 31st of July, not the 34th. A whole new day that I've added into July. This is what I'm going to say. The original Poltergeist came from a movie that was going to be a sequel to Close Encounters of the Third Kind. That film had been very successful, and Spielberg was asked to produce a sequel to it. Now, he wasn't all that happy that he did Jaws, and then they got someone else in to do the sequel. So he really wanted to be the guy to do the Close Encounters sequel. And the story was going to be called Night Skies. That was the name they went with, but originally before that it was called something along the lines of Look at the Skies, or Look to the Skies, but they couldn't use that because it was a line from the end of a famous film. So it was called Night Skies. It was going to be about a family who lived on a farm, and these alien scientists had come down to Earth to try and find sentient life. And they began by...
Good luck.
Yeah, good. They began by picking up chickens and cows and testing them and doing all this stuff and ripping them to pieces and all that. And then eventually they decided to look at the humans. And so the film was going to be about these humans who were facing off against these aliens who had all these powers and all that were coming. There's going to be like 11 scientists, alien type things were going to come, and that's what the original film was going to be. However, it never went ahead, and I think it was when Steven Spielberg was doing probably Raiders of the Lost Ark. He was in Tunisia, and he was tired and lonely, and he'd had another idea to do a story about, instead of these horrible aliens, about an alien that is kind of lost away from home. Read it to the lady who was working with her, I think became Harrison Ford's wife, and she loved this idea, which became E.T. And so he went home and made E.T. Anyway, Poltergeist then developed also from that idea, this idea of a family who are being attacked by these forces outside of their control, which is where Poltergeist comes from. But the actual story of Poltergeist, Spielberg got from a real place and a real event. And this is the interesting bit. It's based on Cheeseman Park in Denver, Colorado. The park was originally owned by the Arapaho Indians. I don't think it was an Indian burial ground, but they owned it. And this American general decided he wanted to set up his own town, and so stole it off them, as the Americans love to do. And he set up this of Denver, and this massive area was put away to be a cemetery. So one area was for posh people, one area near the outsides for crooks and criminals, and then most of the people were in the middle. Things didn't turn out the way they expected them to do, and the graveyard fell into disrepair. People didn't really want to use it. And what ended up happening was only poor people could bury there. So debtors who couldn't pay debts would be buried there when they died, stuff like that. So the graveyard was filled with all these nameless people who died and had no family that would stick them there. Time goes on, and the whole of the graveyard is overrun. Another guy tries to buy it and run it again, and it falls through. and they decide that they actually want to use this land. They want to build on it. They'd like to build a park there rather than this horrible eyesore. So they hire a guy called E.P. McGovern and say to him, can you clear all the bodies that are left there? Because originally they gave all the people who lived nearby 90 days to get rid of the relatives from there. They said 90 days to dig up the relatives and put them somewhere else into another cemetery. But because a lot of them were debtors and criminals and stuff, no one knew who the families were. So E.P. McGovern was given the job to collect them. They were going to pay him $1.90 for each body he moved out. He started off doing it properly. However, he realised that he would get $1.90 for a child's casket as well as for a human-sized one. So what he decided to do was...
You mean an adult-sized one?
An adult-sized one, yes, sorry. Yeah, an adult-sized one.
A chimp-sized one.
So what he decided was, wouldn't it be a good idea if he was to get, for example, if you get a human and cut them up, they fit in about 3 different child-sized caskets. So he very quickly set about chopping up the corpses and putting them into these child-sized caskets to get more money for them. And he did. He made an absolute cartload of money, left all bits of limbs and bodies all over the place. And he racked up such an amount of money from the local government there that they couldn't afford to pay him anymore. And there was a big outcry. There went these big holes with bits of dead body all over this graveyard. So they got rid of him, they sacked him. And then they left it. And they left it, and there was still bits of bones and bodies sticking out and graves that were dug. And in the end, because they couldn't afford to move any of the bodies, they went just to turn it into a park. So they turned it into this park where, to this day, there's still bodies under it, and supposedly it's haunted. And so Steven Spielberg heard of this Cheeseman Park and decided that this idea of a house built over this burial ground would be a good story. So that's where the story of Poltergeist originally came from, which is quite a lovely story. And there's been loads of ghostly sightings and things seen there, supposedly by lunatics. So, hang on a minute, somebody at the door.
Who's it?
I've not gone all pink windmill. Oh, it's Andrew Cook.
Bloody hell, blast from the past. He's not as good as you, though.
Come on in. Well, here's a treat for your listeners. That's the spontaneity of Empire of Geek. There he is.
All right.
Oh.
Hello.
Mr. Cook.
Hi, you're right.
Now, come on in. We are recording at the
Sorry
moment.
to interrupt. I'll be quiet.
No problem.
Carry on.
Hopefully, listeners, if you've not listened before, Andy is one of our guest listeners. He's just been told he's not allowed to sit on the sofa.
No, I said there's a garden chair.
There's a garden chair over there.
Oh, I say. I've got.
Can we just say we do have proper sofas and stuff in our house? We don't sit on garden chairs. It's only when guests who least don't want to sit on the sofa come.
You sit in the middle.
Yeah.
That's if you want.
No, just continuing what I was saying.
It wasn't offered to you, was it?
No.
Spielberg, when he made E.T., he made E.T. and Poltergeist back to back, one after another, and the actual street where E.T. set is exactly the same street where Poltergeist is set. So if you watch both those films, it's exactly the same street. So there's some boring facts for you about it. But yeah, so Poltergeist, based on a real event, place in America, Cheeseman Park in Denver, Colorado. Right, before we move on to TV news, what have you been up to then, Mr. Andy?
So I've just been a bit waylaid.
You've been cooking your girlfriend dinner, haven't you?
Yeah, all done.
Yeah.
Mission accomplished.
Did it go well?
Oh, spectacularly.
Well,
Not bad, well.
Yeah. Did she not want to hang around?
No.
Oh, so it didn't go very well.
She just wants me for my food. That's all. So.
Oh. No, good on you, Andy. But it's nice to see you here anyway.
But, it came round,
It is. Well, the listeners, this makes the show all...
That's it, yeah, for all those...
peeps at home.
Peep.
So you've had a busy week this week, haven't you?
Yes, thanks. Anyway, I don't want to hijack the...
No, I wonder if the...
Andy and Florian haven't met before.
No.
Have you never met before?
No, I don't think so.
Right, this is Dr. Florian.
You not met at one of our parties?
Yeah, that's not what I call myself.
And this is Andy, also a co-host. He lives around the corner from us. Has no interest in anything geeky whatsoever.
So,
well, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. So I'm not entirely sure why I...
He likes crappy manga comics about taxi drivers and racers.
Yeah, what is it they drive? It's... what is it they deliver?
Let's just move on.
Is it tofu? Something?
Yeah, something.
Yeah, tofu high-speed delivery driving comic books. That's not the geekiest thing you've ever heard. The Drift King.
Everyone has skeletons in their closet, you know.
We're going to talk about TV news now.
TV news. Cool.
TV news. Okay, I showed the guys here the Daredevil trailer, which is now on YouTube.
It barely qualifies as TV though because it's on Netflix.
Yes, what's actually it's kind of like internet, digital.
The thing is, a lot of
Pay for
Netflix
TV.
stuff. Some of it does get syndicated and end up on like Channel 4 and like Lilyhammer. They used to not Channel 4, BBC 4. Netflix has Lilyhammer, and it was briefly shown on BBC 4.
What thing was Lilyhammer? I know it's a
Lilyhammer's pretty cool. Lilyhammer is about this New York gangster.
Oh, it's got Stephen Van Sant.
That's right.
Yeah.
Stephen Van's. I forgot his surname. Vans.
He was in The Sopranos, wasn't he?
That's right.
He's
He's East Street Band. That's right. He's in the East Street Band. Anyway,
so
what happens is he plays this big kind of gangster, New York gangster, shops the mafia bosses to the mob. Shops the mob to the cops, and then decides it needs to be relocated. And so he chooses Lilyhammer because he happened to see the Olympics when he was a kid and thought it'd be quite a good place to go as far away. So anyway, he goes all the way over there to Lilyhammer, and of course he's like this New York mobster, and it's all about him trying to integrate and fit in. And
is it comedy?
Yeah, it is. It's very, very good, but it's kind of like more of a comedy drama, I would say, than a straight comedy. It is very good, and they've just had season 3, I believe.
I've not actually seen it. All right.
Yeah, season 3, and it's sort of. I hope they do another season because it's sort of. It didn't really end, if you see what I mean. So hopefully they'll do another one.
Are you saying it needs to end? Yeah. Please let it end.
No. It didn't really conclude. There was no real conclusion from it. So it'd be good.
Well, I've always thought I would love to see a film about a former mobster hiding out in a former Winter Olympics host city.
But it works. It works really well.
Sounds great.
No, seriously.
So much storyboarding.
I can't wait to see it.
It is. Like he sets up his own nightclub and he starts like getting like all these. Where's Lilyhammer? It's in Finland, isn't it? Norway.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. So he's got all these Norwegians, and he's and Norwegian culture is quite different to they're all quite like socialist and want to look after each other. Whereas he's like free market, stuff you, I'm going to shoot you, and all this kind of stuff. So
it's notoriously what free marketeers do.
Mass murder. That's capitalism.
Well,
it's good. Watch it.
Anyway, Daredevil. So, new Netflix show. It's going to be appearing on Netflix on April the 10th. It's going to be 13 episodes, the whole series in one go, because they have decided that people want to binge watch.
Well, they do. They got clever metrics because they analyse everything that's watched. They even know when you're most likely to go to bed, when you're going to use the toilet, all this kind of stuff.
I don't always know exactly when I need the toilet.
Well, they can predict
a few moments before.
But they can predict your viewing pattern.
And will things pop up on the screen? I'm watching it. Like we have a thing saying your TV will shut down in 4 minutes unless you press the button. Will it say you're probably going to need a shit in the next 5 minutes?
It's not quite like that. But it will ask us to
listen.
Aren't you overdue?
The data, they mine some serious data. It's clever stuff what Netflix is doing.
Unless you haven't got it. Like I haven't got it.
Yeah, I haven't got it.
Well, I've got it.
But that's the thing. That's the thing about Netflix. It's like Amazon Prime, right? You get it first.
Oh.
Wow. How could you not hear that?
Oh, that is rank. Oh.
You don't have smelly-vision.
Dog farts.
Nobody wants to smell that.
Mind that one, Netflix.
Can we light a match or something to burn it off?
If we light a match, we're all at risk of going up.
But it's like I was going to say, it's like Amazon Prime, though, isn't it? You get it, and then for the first week you watch everything on it, and then you don't. You stop doing that.
Or you get Amazon Prime, don't realise you've got it, and then you realise, and then you go fucking apeshit. And I must admit, they are very good at turning it off and giving you cash back. Because I was a member of it from October time last year. Didn't realise until Christmas.
How did that happen? Did you go for the free trial, or
it was because they they have a thing which is you can go free Super Save delivery or
Yeah.
Prime
Amazon
delivery
free,
and you click on that and it signs you up, and I didn't realise.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. I
It's
guess,
tricky.
yeah, some people have fallen for that, but they give you the money back.
Yeah, they're really. They replied very quickly, and they
Particularly
get the money back.
if you haven't watched anything. I suppose.
Well, yeah. Well, I went in and I didn't know.
I didn't. I signed up for it. I didn't know, and I watched everything on it. So now I want my money back.
If I'd have known, I'd have been absolutely owning Lilyhammer.
Netflix is Lilyhammer. Trust me, Lilyhammer is good. Honestly, it works.
I'm sure it is. I'm not.
It's not that
Lilyhammer.
good.
Balls.
So.
Sorry, that was about the noise that
Yes.
Andy just made.
The dog just hit Andy in the nuts.
Yeah.
So it's going to be 13 episodes, all released at the same time, and it fits into a big plan that Marvel have got with Netflix, in that they are going to release 13 episodes of Daredevil, then they're going to release 13 episodes eventually of Jessica Jones, who's another hero from the Marvel Universe, a superpowered female kind of detective, then Iron Fist, who's like a kung fu type superhero, and then Luke Cage, who's one of the most prominent kind of black superheroes in Marvel. And then after they've released all 4 of those series, they will do a Defenders one, which is going to be a street-level superhero team. They've described this as a crime drama first and a superhero show second. So it sounds like it could be quite interesting.
Is this Disney Marvel or is this franchisee?
I'm pretty sure it's Disney Marvel, but if you only watch the trailer, there was probably more blood in that trailer than in every Marvel film so far. I think because it's Netflix, they're going for a
mature audience,
a much more mature. They can get away with a lot.
Credit card owning
Yes.
mature audience.
Yeah, so it's. I think it will be quite dark as well. It's going to have Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock, the blind attorney, legal eagle, who goes and kicks ass as Daredevil.
With a radar sense.
Yes, with his special radar sense after...
Although it's described as radar, isn't it? And it's really ultrasound type stuff.
It is.
Yeah.
Do you know there's a crossover between Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Daredevil?
Is it?
Yeah.
Go on.
When it's a joke.
I'm looking forward to that.
It's not a joke. The reason it's a crossover is if you know your Daredevil, Matt Murdock could see originally as a little boy.
Yeah.
And there was an accident where he helped, was it an old person or someone out of the way of this van,
Yeah.
and a barrel of toxic waste came off it and went
Devil's
in his eyes.
Kitchen, yeah.
And it went down into the sewers.
Yeah.
And so when they created when Eastman and Laird made the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they on purpose used the idea that as Daredevil was created, the toxic waste from that was what mutated the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That isn't just a fan thing. That is originally that's where it came from. The Daredevil's origin is exactly the same. Well, it's from the same time and place as the original
Except
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Flush down pet turtles.
Yes. Other than that, they weren't lawyers.
No.
It's true. If I was going to be...
Well, Daredevil wasn't a lawyer when he was a kid. So.
No, yeah. So stop trying to make me want a turtle or turtle either, was it? So
Fun.
yeah. Well, their origin happens at the same time originally, which is quite nice. And
You can economise on origin stories.
we could admit
Because you're not a fan of the origin story, are you?
No. Not if I've heard it 3 times before.
yeah. I thought we all agree with that. You don't want to keep hearing
No.
seeing Spider-Man get bitten by
Spider-Man,
a frigging spider. No, I agree with that. So I think it looks quite interesting. That'll be April the 10th, 2015. You get it, and it will be released in all territories at the same time. So it could be quite exciting. So it does say in the press release, should be almost as good as Lilyhammer. So,
Specifically said that.
Better, I hope. Better, I hope.
Rob will like it. That was the other part of the press release.
yes.
Raoul.
Raoul will
Raoul
like it.
will like it.
God.
Yeah, we're still continuing that.
It's my thing.
Nobody's noticed. They all refer to him as Raoul on the question.
Yeah, we had a
No.
letter. We had a Twitter.
No.
Yeah, someone contacted us on
We actually have a listener.
Empire Geek.
A listener.
Craig.
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 And Craig asked the question, does Robbie every episode?
Where's Craig
Eats.
from? What do we know about Craig?
He's on Twitter.
That's it. Yeah.
Any
He
particulars?
must be a person.
Oh, well, I do
Oh,
actually know Craig myself. You know Craig as well.
Do I?
If I was to sit here smouldering, would that give you a clue who Craig is?
Oh,
Yeah, it's a friend of ours' boyfriend.
All right.
He's in the RAF. he smoulders.
Yeah.
Does he know that we say smoulders?
I don't think so.
He does now. Hello, Craig.
You've said to Rachel before.
Yeah, she must have told him.
Yeah.
It's just in every photo. He's a nice guy. He works for the RAF, and he in every photo you see of him, he does this thing where he's just like
blue steel.
Yeah,
just like blue steel. He just has this kind of smoulder on where he slightly purses his lips, not on purpose. Just he just does it, and he's like, and then his eyes are like. If there was a noise, I'll get a bit closer to the thing. If there's a noise that associated with it, it'd be yeah. It's like, oh yeah.
It's like Barry White. Look.
But white.
But white.
Yes.
And less big.
Yeah, it's not fat at all.
No, he doesn't look like Barry White. It's just that kind of...
So, he's just like Barry White, apart from nothing like Barry White whatsoever.
I was going to go for the voice next to say.
Yeah, he's not got a particularly...
It's not really
He's not high-pitched though, is he?
Love,
He's not like, hello, I'm Rachel's boyfriend. He's got a normal voice. Maybe it's quite low-pitched, but he doesn't make the sound. That's the sound I hear in my head when he's just like smouldering and pitches like, That's what I hear.
It's a constant.
Yeah.
Like the sound of constipation.
That's not my... That's a pretty cool constipation sound. Constipation would be...
Plop.
See, this all... Well, no, that is not constipation.
No, you're not doing it right.
So, the next thing I want to talk about is Walking Dead. It's released tonight. I know that my girlfriend is excited about The Walking Dead, but she can follow that one. She can't really follow the plot of Game of Thrones.
She's smiling.
Too many characters.
That is so unfair.
But I showed you all the trailer. What you like Walking Dead, don't you?
Well, I don't
Raoul.
dislike it. I like it, but I'm not like a monster raving fan of it or anything.
I freaking love it.
But
we all know that Dr. G hates.
I can continue
zombies.
my theme of jokes that I told earlier.
About tell that joke that you told earlier.
Because when you retell it and explain it, it never, that improves jokes.
They've not heard it.
I can't even remember it. So
you see now the build-up, it won't live up to.
We were promised to laugh.
But The Walking
hold a
Dead
cue card?
cannot be cancelled because it just simply won't die.
that's actually quite good. Yeah.
We're into joke more than anything, Rob. When someone at the end of it goes,
Raoul.
Oh, that was
Raoul.
quite good. Yeah.
yeah, that was
thanks
quite
for that.
funny when I think about it.
I can explain the joke, make it
Yeah.
even funnier.
Talk us through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
There we
new
go.
Walking Dead coming on. Now, I've read a significant amount of the comic books. I'm not up to date with the comic books because I buy the compendiums, which are big collected issues of them.
Yeah.
And they've not brought out Compendium 3 yet. But the show, if it does what I think it's going to do from watching the trailer, will be almost at the point where I am. They mentioned something about... do you remember what happened at the end of the last episode?
Of
Beth got her top of red blown off. Walking Dead.
right.
Spoiler.
Sorry, Lisa. Yeah, we were going to watch it again, weren't we? But yeah, they said they were talking about the guy from Everyone Hates Chris, the actor who's in it now. That she was going to come with him to go somewhere. That's we think going to be the Alexandria safe zone, which is featured in the comic books. Which is basically near Washington. There's a few rows of houses which have been kind of walled off, and they've got a generator. And in the comic books, they all go there, and they can run electricity and things like that from there. And there's some big storylines. Rick gets a bit of action with a lady.
AJ Clutterbuck.
AJ Clutterbuck gets some action with a lady, and then there's some horrific things that are going to happen. It's going
What
to be
happened to
brilliant.
his wife?
She, in the comic book, she was shot and killed with the baby, and the baby died. In the TV show,
You can't kill
she
babies.
died in childbirth, and then her corpse was... Well, she was killed by Carl, and then her corpse was eaten by a zombie. And then Rick went and knifed it up and cut it up. But she died. Laurie dies in the comic books and in this.
Yeah.
In the comics, Andrea...
Cheery stuff.
It is. It's all very jolly. Andrea, who died in the TV show, she's still alive in the comic books at this point.
Is she a marked person because she died in the TV show?
No, they don't make it clear. But yeah, she's alive. I don't know why they killed her off, to be honest, but in the comic book she's quite a significant character. But this one particular main event that will be coming up to do with Carl, I don't want to ruin it. Carl's the Rick's little boy, the annoying kid. Not that he's grown up a lot now.
Yeah.
But something particularly unfortunate happens to him. and it happens in the Alexandria free zone, and then there's some big battles coming up as well, if that's where they're going. So I don't want. Are you staring at me out of anger because I'm not ruined anything?
Is that in the book?
In the comic book, yeah. I don't know if they'll do it because they didn't in the comic books. Rick gets his right hand cut off quite early on by a bad guy, by the governor, because that didn't happen in this one. I know you're shocked, Andy, the thought of living without your right hand. My love life.
No, that's just...
I'm ambidextrous.
You're going to cook the girlfriend dinner, will you, if you lose your right hand?
No. I don't think that was what Stephen was going for.
Well, that's kind of...
It was a wanking joke, right?
Yeah.
I knew that. I was trying to go somewhere with it.
Well...
Go somewhere with his right arm.
Yeah.
Sick.
With the
really
joke, I was
sick.
going to take it on a journey. But
Jesus.
the moment's lost now.
You should listen to the last episode. There's something where Rob says something. I can't remember what it was.
Oh,
and we go, oh no, that's not. And then he valiantly tries to talk it round.
Was it seamless?
He mistook. Douglas Adams.
That's it. Yeah, Douglas
Douglas
Adams
Adams
for Rob Grant and Doug Naylor, who are the dwarf. You know, that was it. He said, "Yeah,
If
red
he was
dwarfs
around,
not been the
still,
same. Yeah,
they'd be
since
doing it
Douglas
better.
Adams."
Yeah.
But he had nothing.
Never mind.
He had nothing to do with it. No, but I think that, and it's like, oh, everyone on the internet's gonna hear me.
Everyone.
It was great.
Everyone, as much as everyone. We only got Craig to listen.
There's a guy sitting there.
Craig.
Craig's probably sitting there thinking, why is Rob not eating? I'm switching off.
Yeah.
Well, get me some chocolate.
Have you had an update on Rob's training programme then?
We did. He's lost an inch.
Yeah.
On his
You need every...
various parts of his
You'll
anatomy.
have to listen to the podcast because we've done that.
I will.
I told the story about when he said he'd been stabbed with an ace needle as well.
Oh, you covered that.
No one else saw his bollock. His massive cantaloupe testicle.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, that one. So it looks like there's some exciting stuff. If they are going to the Alexandria free zone and safe zone, and if they follow the comic book, then because Carl's quite an unpopular character in the TV show because he's a whiny little son of a bitch. Because he becomes quite.
That's no way to talk about his mother, though. She was a lovely woman who cared very much.
Yeah,
for
she was. She was enough. She cheated on him. She cheated on Rick, though, didn't she? The BR.
Sort of.
She thought he was dead, but still.
Well, that's not. Yeah, okay, go on.
I'd be annoyed if Lee started cheating on me
Okay.
if she thought I was dead. So there's a lot of exciting things coming up. And the other thing we watched was Game of Thrones. We saw the trailer for that.
Mm-hmm.
We'll start with Raoul.
I can't wait for it.
You can, if you're doing it right now.
Yes.
That phrase really makes no sense.
Okay. I am really looking forward to it. Really looking forward to it.
More sensible. I like it.
I've not read the books, so I don't really have any expectation as to what will happen. It just looked the same as it always does. Really solid, just epic, and awesome.
Weren't you saying that one of the characters had stopped baking? And that was a huge disappointment to her because she wasn't going to get her baps out anymore.
Oh my word. That's the story that before the show. Rob won't want us to talk about this because if on the off chance his girlfriend listens.
By the way, I know nothing about the Game of Thrones. So.
Well, a lot of the actresses who
You either win or you die.
in the original series,
Amelia Clark,
well, and a couple others,
Daenerys Targaryen.
they would,
Got
there was a
boobs
lot
there.
of nakedness, and
There
now,
still will be nakedness.
but their
of hairy
nakedness.
men.
No,
That's,
Yeah.
For
well,
Raoul, that's not the same.
the thing is,
There is male nakedness. You don't see any wangers though. I'm pretty sure.
you do see wangers.
Do you?
Yeah, there are quite a few wangers.
I'm not really looking for them, but obviously you've got a good eye for it.
Freeze frame.
Yeah, they've had clauses written into their contracts, so they don't have to get the kit off anymore. Which, from a feminism point of view, is awesome.
Well, she has because she's one of the main characters, but there's lots of other female characters who, even in the trailer, you saw that one of them was just about to get her a bats out. So don't worry, Rob. You'll still get your cheap thrills from it. I, for one,
I like the story. I must stress that. It's the plot that I like.
yes. Yes. Do you watch Game of Thrones?
No, I don't.
Now this is why I'm excited for it, because I've read the first book, and then after I'd read it, because I couldn't get hold of the other books, because I got it on my phone, so I could just read it on my phone, and the other books cost a fortune. So I went on the internet and read a ton of stuff on the internet. So I know roughly what's going on, and there's lots of things in the trailer that I was really excited about. One of the key things you see at the beginning is Tywin Lannister's dead, who was the head of House Lannister. He was the rock of the Lannister family.
Shot in the toilet.
Killed by Tyrion while he's having a shit. And in the books, I don't know if he says it in the TV show, but in the books, he makes a statement about, there's a rumour that Tywin Lannister, because he used to fund the crown, that he shits gold. And he shoots his dad when he's on the toilet with a crossbow. And obviously his bowel's empty in the book. And he says, oh, so he doesn't shit gold as he walks away after killing him. Because he's a dwarf, one of his sons is. So Tywin's dead. So the fallout from that's going to be interesting. Because his brother, Kevin Lannister, comes and gets involved. But some of the other things you saw in the trailer was, there was a lot of shots of Daenerys. And you saw the great big kind of winged creature, which is on this big temple, and I think it's Marine, getting pulled down. In the story so far, she has been freeing all these slaves. Because there's this big area called Slavers Bay. She goes to these cities and frees the slaves, and then she goes to another city and frees them. Whenever she leaves a city,
she basically
bad dudes can control it again. She's realising that she's trying to be a good person, isn't she? But whenever she leaves somewhere, evil people come back and take it over again. So there's leading up to a great big battle.
She's basically building an army, isn't she?
She has an army of originally eunuch mercenaries, and then she freed them. And she also has 3 dragons, which are a big advantage. So it's going to be interesting seeing what happens with Daenerys. You also saw a shot of Arya, first of all, holding her sword, Sting, I think it's called. No, not Sting, that's what Lord of the Rings is called. What's her sword called?
Stig.
Stig of the Dump?
I can't remember.
That's the caveman.
That's the name of the bolt that killed the House of Lannister guy. Well, he was having one.
So, what's her sword called? Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Needle.
Needle. She has a sword.
Yeah, Needle.
You see her holding Needle, and then you see her a bit later on at these 2 big doors. One's black and one's white. Now, the reason why that's significant is that the black and white doors belong to the training kind of temple of the Faithless Men, who are these assassins. Who are this order. Of Bravosi.
Yeah.
And when you go into
Bravos.
there, Bravos. But the Bravosi, that's the people from there called that. When you go in there, you give up to them. They're like assassins who can change the faces. When you go into one of these places, you give up your own personality. But I think she keeps Needle because it was given to her by her brother, and she remembers her family through it. So in the books, that's not been fully resolved yet. But she, I think, at some point will come back and get revenge. The other thing is interesting. You saw lots of shots of Tyrion, who escaped after being blamed for murdering the king, and obviously shot his dad.
He did it after what you said.
Well, that wasn't the king. That was the hand of the king. It was the real king was an arsehole called Joffrey, and he was poisoned.
Who was the grandson?
What, sorry?
Joffrey was his grandson.
Yeah, he was the grandson of Tywin.
Yeah.
So he's on the run, and he's off to go and find Daenerys. And there's a comment in there about not putting, a man on the throne. And then they said, well, how's that not a man? Something like that. So they're talking about Daenerys. There's lots of shots of of Dawn, which is where your favourite character, Rob, the fights the mountain. Do you remember?
Sorry, I was replying to Emma. What was
you've just given out your girlfriend's name on the show. Well done. Oberyn Martell.
Yes.
Yeah, his daughters are coming from Dawn to get revenge for him being killed.
Right. His
brother, who is the king, well, not the king, but he's the big boss man in Dawn, is played by the actor formerly known as Siddig El-Bashir.
Oh, yes. Deep Space Nine.
Siddig El-Fadil.
Alexander. Yeah.
Alexander Siddig.
He played Bashir in Deep Space Nine. Yes.
Yeah. Siddig El-Fadil, that was it, yeah. He's in it.
Is anything going to be happening with the Hound in this season?
No. In the books as well. He's mentioned in the books a bit later on, but you don't see him. There's just a rumour that might come up in some of the later books. He could be dead. So I don't think you'll see anything with the Hound.
I hope he's not dead.
So do I.
Because he's one of my favourite characters, the Hound.
I've not seen it, so...
He's a good character.
He's a good character.
He's played by Rory McCann, who was in... Have you seen the film Hot Fuzz?
Yes.
No, Yarp.
He's kind of an anti-hero
That's
in a way, isn't he?
the real big guy who's
Oh, right, yeah, okay. Yeah.
He's a
With
bit...
you. The guy who tries to kill...
Simon Pegg. Yeah.
Simon Pegg's character.
He's a bit of an anti-hero, the Hand, though, isn't he?
Yes.
Because he's sort of...
He was a shithouse to begin with, but then you started to... There was a lot of things about, in fact, his brother was abusive and murderous. Yeah, he's a nice... He's out for himself, but he did horrible things as well.
Yeah.
But he's one of those good characters you like to like. But the main thing for me was, in it, you see Sansa, who's a bit of a wet blanket, isn't she?
Oh, yeah, always whinging.
And you see Littlefinger saying to her about getting revenge for them all. Now, this is a bit of a spoiler. In the books, the Catelyn Stark, she gets killed at the Red Wedding.
Yes.
In the books, she's brought back as Lady Stoneheart by Beric Dondarrion, who's... You know, there's a guy who fought against the Hound.
Catelyn, who was murdered,
Yes.
is raised from the dead.
Yeah, by Beric Dondarrion. He gives up his life. Do you remember there's a bit where the Hound fought a guy and he killed the guy and the guy came back to life?
Yes.
He was brought back to life by Thoros of Myr in the storyline. And he passes on his life force to bring back Catelyn Stark. But they've thrown her into this river naked near the twins where they got killed.
Yeah.
And her throat was slashed so badly that she can't talk without holding the gap in her throat. And she comes back and she's Lady Stoneheart. And she goes on a murderous rampage against anyone who had anything to do with the assassination of her family. And I'm wondering if Sansa will kind of take her role, because she's not been in it, and I don't think that Lady Stoneheart's going to be in it.
Yeah.
So they might make Sansa into a real badass, in that she will then get on this...
Enough has happened for that massive bipolar split to happen, for her personality to change that much. So it'd be quite interesting to see.
I would like it. They need to make her tougher, because a lot of people don't like her character because she's a big wimp. And that's all my TV news. So we cut you out a lot there.
That's all right. I presume when you edit it, you'll sort of start the last segment and then fade off a little bit and then come back and cut out about the 10 minutes in the middle and go, and that was the news.
And remove the bit about the boobs as well.
No, boobs are interesting.
Yeah.
Call them breasts, please.
Yeah, breasticles. So, did you mention the other day when I was chatting to you?
Yeah.
About you might come and talk about something to do with games, because none of us. I play one game, Assassin's Creed.
I write games, but don't play them.
What?
What
Good
game?
system for you.
What games do you invent?
Just little JavaScript games.
What? Sorry.
For clients, just like I've got this marketing thing.
Oh, right,
I want to have Pac-Man with my branding on it, that sort of thing.
That's not really inventing games.
Isn't that copyright?
Copyright infringement, isn't it?
Well, not necessarily. It doesn't look like Pac-Man.
You
It's
could
that
do,
kind of style of game, isn't it?
Breakout and stuff.
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, and Bomberman type things, and
Yeah, it's a 2D platform. It's that kind of.
yeah.
Yeah. So, did you want to talk about? I don't want to put you on the spot. I don't know if you've.
No, I'm very interested in games because obviously there's a lot of games at the moment to do with zombies in particular. And actually, I found myself watching people on Twitch who play these games, like H1Z1, H1Z1, if you're pronouncing the letter properly. And it's just, I just have to say, Stephen just fist pumped there because he hadn't managed not to stop the recording. So
I was just worried. I thought
I would have had to kill you. You understand?
Yes.
If okay, no, but there are loads of loads of games to do with zombies that are quite popular at the moment. I think it's just the guilt-free killing of like dehumanized things. But I've never quite understood that because I've played all sorts of games like Wolfenstein and from like 200 years ago. And quite frankly, I could always tell the difference between sort of animated violence and computerized violence and real violence, which I am strictly against. And I think the difference is between really the European sort of take on it and the American take on it is we don't have real guns lying about the house.
Yeah.
So we don't, even if we entertain fantasies about knocking off our neighbour who's been playing music, until 3 o'clock in the morning. Or
You can
whatever.
appreciate that, can't you, Andy? You're well now.
Appreciate that. Yeah.
We
You got
just
a neighbour
we,
that's saying
job I
Jesus
wasn't
three.
all we can do is grab a pen and write notes, really.
Right, very sturdily worded letter.
Oh, I've had that. I had a argument with a friend of mine until about 3 o'clock in the morning, and the neighbour could actually follow it and posted a suggestion through the letterbox, which I thought was hilarious.
How to solve the argument?
Such a good sport. But he said,
Was it go to bed?
Yeah, he basically not with each other. No, he
Make
said,
love, not war.
No, he did that, and then he said, "But if it happens again, I'm going to have to kill you." So no, he didn't. It was fine. But I'm really fascinated by the development of games. I mean, loads of games. Actually, when we're talking about reboots, loads of games are reboots of other of the same sort of franchise, or not the same sort of franchise, different franchise, but same sort of content. And that's maybe something that culturally we are running a little bit on empty at the moment. But really inventive games are there are some, but they maybe have to come from other cultures. Maybe that's. I mean, when you think about The Ring remade with Sarah Michelle Gellar. Was
classic horror film.
Not was actually a Japanese horror film, and which featured virtually very little
Was
blood.
was Michelle Gellar in The Ring? I
thought
thought it was
it
The
was
Grudge.
Oh, the Grudge,
yeah,
yeah. But
yeah,
again,
yeah.
it's another Japanese.
They have redone
that was
Ring,
Japanese.
haven't they?
Yeah.
They have redone The Ring, and The Ring in the remake was a lot bloodier and a lot. In the original Japanese version, it was not violent in that sense. You just died. You just knew it was. You got the ring, and then 24 hours later you died.
There has been a lot recently to do with games of people, independent little developers on their own, making like almost 8-bit style games, but quite interesting ones.
Check out London Dare. Have you heard of London Dare?
No.
It's a 48-hour hack, and people just build stuff in that time, and they're
Well, a hack
global.
was where you go riding ponies for the day.
Well, you basically
How does a game get made like that?
you have 48 hours to build a game up. It's all online, so normally with a hack day you go somewhere and you stay there for 24 hours, 48 hours, whatever, you build something. With London Dare, it's different teams around the world, and they make all these games and over 48 hours, and then there is a winner, But all the games are released, and they are just like,
No, you're right though. I mean, there's a real demand, I think, for retro style games because first off, a lot of Resident Evil gets replayed on Twitch, and then you get things like the Rebirth of Isaac, which is basically a very very low graphics thing, and Five Nights at Freddy's, which is again a horror game, but it's very low budget. And I want to be the Boshi and stuff like that, which is like platformers. But yeah, I mean, there's always. I don't think the graphics make the game, and I think that a lot of people are beginning to cotton onto that. Because Destiny, for example, is of course a beautifully made game, but it lacks depth.
Have
a
you
lot
seen
of people say.
Nidhogg?
No.
The sword fighting game.
No.
We've got to have a Nidhogg night. Honestly, that game is so addictive. It's brilliant. It is just brilliant. You've
What's
got
it called, sorry?
Nidhogg. So you've got two swordsmen.
I thought you were being rude for a minute.
No. It's two swordsmen, and the guy that made it took it to hack days and program days all around the world. Never really planned to release it. Eventually, did release it, and it's like on Steam for like £10 or something. And you're basically these two sword fighters, and the idea is you've got to fight your other guy till he gets off the screen, and as he moves off the screen, then this other scenery appears, and until eventually you push him all the way back 5 or 6 screens, and he ends up in like boiling lava. But there's all kinds of stuff you can interact with in the scenery and jump around, and it's just really good fun.
What's it called again?
Nidhogg.
Nidhogg.
N-I-D, Nid.
You're the only one on the phone.
Hog. I'm just killing it.
You are literally spelling out something that you're the only one who knows.
There we are. Nidhogg, all one word. Nidhogg, nidhoggame.com, and it is absolutely spectacular.
Do you know the developer of the game? Is this your plug?
Yeah.
No, I don't know the developer.
Let's have a look at it. I can't see it.
They're these giant, like snaky pink things that look like big knobs at the end. But look, here's the YouTube
No,
video.
that actually looks like a snake.
Yeah.
I really don't know what your knob looks like.
No, at the end, if you
I'd
see
be
it,
worried.
I didn't see that when he was doing the crunches, but I only saw
Here it
one
is.
nut.
Right. So this is it, right? You've got your two guys either side. Just turn the sound down, and you're fighting back and forth, and it's just such good fun.
Right.
It's simple,
Yeah.
but it's just amazingly good fun. Honestly, I'll get a copy.
And a lot of
I'll buy a copy, and we'll come and play it next week.
A lot of the best games
Look
are
forward
very,
to
are
that,
very
listeners.
simple, and they're co-op. They're co-op. Yeah.
It's won like tons of
I agree with
awards because it's just such an addictive and fun game.
Yeah.
The games I was thinking of, there is a game I've seen where it's a 2D platform game,
Yeah.
but then the whole screen will turn. So it's actually a 2D
Yeah.
world but in 3D, which looked quite interesting.
Yeah, I heard about that. I saw there was a program on about independent game developers, and it was like various people who'd sort of gone and made a game by themselves, and it's like Half-Life 3. Some of those games, because they've been hyped forever and they've never really been finished and don't come out. So you have to be a bit careful with vaporware like that. But yeah, I've heard about that one in particular.
I might have seen the same documentary.
Yeah.
It was quite interesting. There was
Yeah.
a guy called Phil Fish.
Yeah, Failfish. Yeah,
Failfish, yeah. So he made a game, didn't he? Fez.
Yeah, Fez.
And then he's been talking about Fez 2, and I think he repeatedly kept...
There was one with meat in it as well, wasn't there?
Meat Boy.
Meat
yeah,
Boy,
Meat
yeah,
Boy,
yeah. But that
Super
actually came
Meat
out.
Boy.
Yeah.
The Comic of the Week is heartoftime.co.uk, that's all one word, Heart of Time. This is by Sarah Millman. It's a fantasy webcomic. It follows the adventures of a bad-tempered teenager and her pug, Gertrude, who steal a Vespa-shaped time machine from her father, and then they go to this kind of steampunk-style, kind of back-in-time, Victorian-type place. It's drawn really interestingly. It looks really cool, so I won't say too much more, because people can look at it themselves, can't they?
Yes.
Rather than me ranting on about it. So that's www.heartoftime.co.uk. Check it out. It looks great. Great image graphics, and have a look. Okay, Comic-Cons I want to talk about. 2 Comic-Cons. These are for March. These are both on the 1st of March. First one is Bolton Comic-Con. It's at Bolton's White Hotel in Bolton. And you can find out more at www.funkyfigures.co.uk, which is Wigan's Marvel and DC specialist Facebook page supply, whatever things.
Smoothly done there.
Smoothly done. Anyway, going to this one is Sylvester McCoy, Doctor Who.
Oh, cool.
Miltos Yeralumu, who played Sirio Farrell, who was the water dancing Bravosi teacher of Arya Stark in the first series of Game of Thrones. Yeah. Dave Prowse, going. Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Not the voice of Darth Vader, obviously, but the big Cornish tit who played Darth Vader.
You don't like him, do you?
I don't hate him. I had a friend who...
James Earl Jones.
No, he...
Prowse.
Dave Prowse played... It was the guy in the suit most of the time. He, my friend, was a massive Star Wars fan, and he spent years going to conventions, getting this giant poster signed, and he would go to them. Look, he said, don't put my name on it. Just put your name around the side small. And so he'd get them written all around the side in special silver pen. Because he thought if I can sell it, if you don't have your name on it, it costs more. And he goes to Dave Prowse, because he had almost everyone else, and he said, can you please sign it? Just put your name on it, please. And so he then got hold of it and got a bloody great big black marker and wrote right across the middle of it, to Paul, Dave Prowse is Darth Vader, and underlined it. It bloody ruined the whole thing.
Mm.
So I've always thought he's a bit of a dick. And also there's some things that... I think there's a book he wrote about his time in Star Wars, and he said he was offered the role of Chewbacca, but he didn't. He wanted people to see his face. And it's like, but you've got Darth Vader. And he was a bit pissed off as well.
And everybody likes Chewbacca.
Yes. Whereas,
Yeah, but Darth Vader's more iconic.
Yeah, but nobody knows who's under the mask anyway.
he was annoyed that they didn't use his voice as well. Have you ever seen
Can
any
you
of the
imagine
original footage?
a Cornish Darth Vader?
Were you in the plans, Princess Lear? So yeah, he won. And Peter Davison, another Doctor Who. John Challis, who played Boise, Only Fools and Horses, who's at every convention I've ever been to. People love him.
Yes.
You could have a story. Sorry, Floyd. I thought you had a good story.
I know, but it's Comic-Con, really.
Yeah, they love
Only
it.
Fools and Horses.
They're going to have a replica of the Robin Reliant, Trotters Independent Traders. Robin Reliant there. Misty, spelt with 2 Y's, who's a Liverpudlian cosplay chick. Check her out on Facebook, Rob. I think you'll enjoy it.
My phone's dead.
When you get home, you can do it. You don't want to check her out when you're around us. that wet slapping sound is not going to play well. And there's tons of other stuff, such as artists, and then they're going to have a big computer game room. And then finally, and I put this one in here because I thought you might be interested.
Go on.
It's Geek Central, which is at Comedia Brighton, a bit far away. You can go to www.geekcentralhq.com. It's the South's first and only geek-centric tabletop sale, shindig and swap meet. So they're going to sell stuff like blister packs not for blisters, but for things like for card games and stuff like that. There's going to be old games room. There's going to be a DJ spinning some tracks which are based on 8-bit games.
I do like the idea of that, but the last time I went to Leeds, and that was just sad. I'm not going to mention the name of the convention because if they get it off the ground again, and but it was basically one room, okay, of very unhappy-looking comic dealers, and who probably thought we're going to be there and it's going to be 500 traders and there's going to be thousands of people. There was a wedding in the same building, and they had more people attending it.
I think that's a regular comic type thing they have there. Was it at is it the Corn or something exchange?
Yeah, Corn Exchange.
Yeah, Corn Exchange. Yeah, they have that.
I didn't want to pinpoint it down too hard because
Because Leeds number 1 Comic Con is Thought Bubble, which they have in November, which I won their Comic of the Year 1 year.
Ooh.
Thank you. And we went to Savile Hall, which has now been renamed. And all big pictures of Jimmy Savile on the walls. No, they had to change name to another celebrity, so Rolf Harris Hall.
Oh dear, you have to really... pick dead celebs to name anything after them. Pick a dead celeb who's been dead for 10 years.
Yeah,
and then,
not anyone.
Yeah, then you're relatively... Michael Jackson, how about that? Uncontroversial.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Because he never touched a kid.
No.
Yeah, I do remember that. There's loads of pictures of Jimmy Savile. I think this might have been just after he died. I'm pretty sure it might have been. I can't remember.
There was a big parade through the streets,
So they loved him in heyday, wasn't they?
Yeah.
So they all came.
Loads of people did love him at the time. They just didn't
The
realise.
thing is,
And
he
he
just
loved
looked...
many people.
He had loads of tributes.
But he just
on
looked
BBC.
evil. He looked like a proper nasty bastard.
People say that.
But I always thought that. In fact, I remember having a conversation with...
I
remember having a conversation with you, Steve, at university, and you told me... Because I said I thought he was an evil bastard, and you said... No, he's all right actually. And
is that what you do?
No. You said you'd recount the story of how he used to own nightclubs or something. He'd have all these underage kids in his nightclub.
I don't remember this particular story.
No.
Is that with the stabbing story?
But the thing is, the police were okay with him having all the kids in the nightclub because they were safer in there than they were outside. Because if anybody tried to molest them, he'd lock them up in the basement and beat them up and stuff.
I've only heard stories about him doing stuff like that since he came out as a pedo.
Well,
are you sure you're not
But you were
conflating?
talking about that at uni,
He was such a great guy.
No. You said he was a great guy. I thought he was a scum. I thought he was a scumbag.
When have we ever argued about Jimmy Savile being a good guy or a bad guy?
This was back at university because I remember saying I thought he looked a bit evil. And you said actually
Rob,
he wasn't that
we never
evil.
had a discussion about Jimmy Savile.
We did. You said
Rob was right.
You said that he used to protect people that were in his nightclub because he'd like beat up all the he had like a bit of a racket going on. He'd beat up all the thugs.
I knew very little about Jimmy Savile at that time.
But I remember saying I thought he was evil, and you said no, he's not.
Never happened.
Yeah, it did.
When I first learned about Jimmy Savile, obviously coming to this country in '91 for the first time, I just thought, why is he in telly? Why is anybody like that on telly? And since then, we've had Claudia Winkleman, which explains a great deal, and people like that.
She's not a paedophile. Let's just say that. Well, not really.
But David Walliams wrote his autobiography, I think.
Jimmy Savile's autobiography?
No, on his own. Autobiography.
Oh,
he can only write his own
autobiography. Corrected again.
Sorry, it's your accent.
You're right. What my thick French accent. Okay. But he, on the back of it, he basically said, as a 10-year-old or something like that, I can't remember how old he exactly was, David Walliams, but he wrote a letter to Jimmy Savile, to Jim Will Fix It, and something like that. And then in the second edition, they basically took that out. So, people are trying to dissociate. So it wasn't obvious to everyone that he was, I think it was obvious to everyone that he was weird.
I always thought he was a pedo.
But there was a Louis Theroux documentary, whatever you call that.
And he sort of challenged him on.
Yeah, he challenged him. Yeah. But even then, I mean, people wouldn't have come away from that saying.
He actually said, "I am a pedo. I am a pedo."
He just said, some shit went on back then, or something like that.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that probably like following Rotherham, which is of course the right material for this show. But somebody will have known. But
we've had some form of abuse in every episode. So. Normally, Rob being beaten by someone with a chair round his head.
Yeah.
Beep beep.
We haven't mentioned any of the people who beat you.
All right. Okay.
Okay. But anyway, go on. Is that it? Are we done?
And so that's a Geek Central 1st of March. Go that one. I was just going to say, do you have a
1st of March? That again. Is there not some date in your mind that might slightly coincide with that?
Heavy, this.
That might make it slightly difficult for us to go.
The babies.
I'm just looking over at Lisa there. It's
the end of March. That's when the babies are coming.
It's a week in. You don't think you should be around?
This has been a bit of a heavy one. We've discussed like kiddie fiddling and
Rob's imaginary memory of me defending paedophile Jimmy Savile.
You did.
The only time I remember at university was you saying how much you love Gary Glitter. And then you used to go on holiday with him.
What have you done?
And that he was always a nice guy that you introduced to lots of nice young ladies.
Oh, when you were in Vietnam with...
you ran that creche with him, didn't you? I remember you saying. You showed me those pictures, but your face was all swirled out on them.
What have you done with all your Rolf Harris records?
Yeah.
Well,
you had to think about that.
We had a mate.
Denial.
We had a mate at university who's part of Rolf Cartoon Club. I was quite surprised because he was never fiddled by.
I don't think Rolf was fiddling everyone. It was his daughter's friend who he fiddled with. I don't know if he was. Jimmy Savile is probably the king of pedos, really. If you can give someone that title.
Well, he was a monster. Put it that way.
He was, yes. When did we ever discuss him at university? You liar.
I remember in the basement at Jimbo's house.
Again, something needing to be.
It was the night we had the lightsaber fight. We all went out. We all went out to that toy shop and bought lightsabers.
No. This never happened.
What you should have bought was longer shorts. That's what I took away from your university time.
Longer shorts.
Yeah. He's already forgotten.
What?
About the fact that when you did your sit-ups, we all saw your...
Oh, right, the testicle.
Your massive omniball. Anyway, so on that... Bombshell, Rob's holidays with Gary Glitter. Raoul's pedo trips.
Why are you wearing 2 different coloured socks, by the way?
Because I don't live with my girlfriend.
Okay.
She wouldn't let me leave the house like this.
Should we finish the show?
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, we'll catch you all next week. Hopefully, Andy will be here from the beginning, can have a bit more input. So it's goodbye from Andy.
Goodbye.
Goodbye from Dr. G.
Hello. Oh, sorry, goodbye.
And goodbye from Raoul.
That's bloody liable, that is.
It's alive! Show this prehistoric bitch how we do things downtown.